What up, Bugles? I want to welcome you to this video and to our Comics Bugle channel, your go-to spot for everything omnibus and oversized. It feels like Christmas came early this year, and we Symbiote fans have a real reason to celebrate, because finally, after all these years, we are getting the brand new VENOMNIBUS. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, Agent Venom Omnibus. The cover price is 150 USD and the book has 1,464 pages. Within these hefty pages, you will find all 42 issues of the 2011's Venom series, including the Minimum Carnage crossover event. And as if that weren't enough, it also includes all 13 issues of Venom Space 9 series. I own this stunning dire market cover, illustrated by Mike Deodato Jr., featuring Venom standing on a shard of meteor rock floating in deep space. Clearly a sneak peek from the Venom Space Knight series. The standard cover, on the other hand, is done by Tony Moore and gives us an action-packed weave of Agent Venom heavily armed and racing through what looks like the streets of New York City. Both covers are genuinely awesome, but for me, the DM has a slight edge in the epicness. On the back cover, beneath the bold headline, Eddie Who?, there's another great illustration of Agent Venom. Naturally, there's a brief story summary and a list of all the issues collected in this volume, along with the names of the talented creators who work on them. The spine features a small illustration of Venom at the bottom, followed by the creators' names and the title logo. At the very top, we get a standard Marvel Omnibus logo. And I must say, I do miss the VENOMNIBUS gag. I know Marvel dropped it with the Venom by Case and STEGMAN Omnibus, but I still think it's a shame they didn't keep the joke going. Marvel Comics chose a stylish black and white design for the book's hardcover, featuring an illustration of Venom lurking from a web, while key moments from the run play out in the background. Personally, I am very happy with this design. The black and white aesthetics fits our favorite symbiote perfectly. Opening the omnibus, we are greeted by a savage opening splash page of Venom. Following that are the table of contents and credit pages, listing all the chapters along with the names of the many talented creators and artists involved. And then we are straight into the stories. We kick things off with stories from 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, specifically issues 654 and 654.1, which are part of Dan Slott's legendary Spidey run. These 2 issues serve as kind of a prologue to the new symbiote chapter that await us in the main body of the book. I will admit, readers unfamiliar with the events leading up to this point might feel like they've been thrown into a fast-moving train. The exposition is brief, and Slott doesn't slow down for newcomers. But rest assured that feeling passes quickly and the story becomes easy to follow and enjoy. By the way, Slott's Spiderman run has finally begun receiving omnibus editions. The opening chapters are collected in the Spider-Man Brand New Day Omnibus Volume 1, and Volume 2 is coming in January 2026. I should also mention Superior Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 1, which was released in 2023, and in my opinion, covers the best part of Slott's decade-long run. Rick Remender's 2011's run on Venom, redefined the character of Flash Thompson and turned what many assumed would be a novelty concept, Venom as a government agent, into one of the most gripping Marvel stories of the 2010s. At the heart of this arc lies the tragic duality of Flash Thompson, a war hero and recovering alcoholic whose service is repurposed by the government through Project Rebirth 2.0. Bonded with a symbiote, Flash becomes a Black Ops soldier capable of lethal action, but under the constant risk of losing control to the alien within. The brilliance of Remender's approach is that this isn't just a sci-fi action book, it's a deeply psychological tale. Flash is tormented by guilt, addiction, and self-doubt, and Remender brings real emotional depth to a character who, until then, had mostly existed as a secondary figure in a Spider-Man lore. The first arc throws Flash into immediate chaos, battling Jack-O-Lantern and ultimately crossing paths with characters like Kraven, Spider-Man, and even the Red Hulk. Perhaps the most daring aspect of Remender's work is how grounded the tone feels despite the outlandish concept. The tension is constant. Flash is only allowed to bond with the symbiote for 48 hours at a time before psychological degradation sets in. This ticking clock mechanic makes every mission feel urgent and dangerous. At the same time, we see Flash trying to maintain a civilian life, including a heartbreaking relationship with Betty Brant. Remender also doesn't shy away from Marvel Universe ties. In the Circle of 4 crossover, uniting Venom with X-24, Red Hulk, and Ghost Rider to prevent a demonic apocalypse in Las Vegas. It's a wild tonal shift, but somehow works within the larger narrative thanks to Remender's dark, kinetic writing. He admitted in interviews that his take on Flash was inspired by a classic Vietnam War narratives, particularly the tension between soldiering and morality. This influence shows through his run, as a Venom is constantly grappling with being a weapon of war versus a man trying to do good. In all, Remender's run is the emotional and narrative backbone of this omnibus. Brutal, brilliant, and often painfully human. When Callan Baum took over, the tone shifted from covert military ops to a more superheroic, horror-themed narrative. His run dives deeper into Flash's inner turmoil while expanding the Venom mythos and offering more traditional comic book pacing. Though it's generally seen as a step down from Remender's acclaimed work, Baum's tenure still contains major development and underrated gems. One of Baum's major contributions is the Minimum Carnage crossover, a high-concept, pulp-style story involving Scarlet Spider, Carnage, and a journey into the microverse. Though divisive among fans, is notable for its ambition and twisted visuals, and it demonstrates Baum's willingness to take risks with a Venom title. As the series continues, Flash relocates to Philadelphia, providing a fresh setting that separates him from the New York-centric stories of the Marvel Universe. This urban change parallels Flash's growing desire to be more of a true hero than just a government tool. He mentors a young sidekick named Andy, who would become Mania, and their dynamic is one of the more grounded and emotional threads in this phase. But also introduced the Toxin symbiote and explores various offshoots of the Clinter mythology, a concept which would later be developed further in Donny Cates' run. These stories fluctuate in tone, from grounded street-level crime drama to high-stakes symbiote warfare. During Baum's run, editorial reportedly pushed for a more superheroic direction, partially due to the popularity of the Flash Thompson version in toys and alternate media. Baum has mentioned in interviews that he had a different arc in mind initially, but pivoted to meet Marvel's publishing goals. While the run lacks of the raw emotional punch of Remender's, it still builds effectively on what came before and expands Flash's identity as a complex, tortured anti-hero. It's not perfect, but it's essential to the full arc of Agent Venom. If Remender and Baum were about inner demons and earthly conflicts, Venom Space Knight is pure cosmic extravaganza. Written by Robbie Thompson, this third act in the Omnibus feels like a tonal reboot. Flash has finally tamed the symbiote and joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, embracing a more noble purpose across the stars. The tone is significantly lighter. Flash is now in full control of the symbiote thanks to the Clinter reconditioning, and for the first time, he is a true superhero. The series is full of alien worlds, quirky supporting characters including the hilarious 803 robot, and more vibrant dynamic art. This feels more like Star Wars or Green Lantern than a horror-themed war drama. The first few issues introduce Flash's new role as an intergalactic peacekeeper. He travels from planet to planet, solving conflicts and helping civilizations, trying to prove that the symbiote is more than just a monster. The themes of redemption and identity are still present, but explored through a more adventurous lens. However, not all fans were on board with this shift. Some felt this was too drastic, a departure from the gritty roots of Agent Venom. But Robbie Thompson's writing is heartfelt and fun, and the artwork, primarily by Ariel Olivetti, is bold, colorful, and cinematic. Olivetti's painted style gives the book a grand, otherworldly aesthetics that fits the space setting perfectly. Interesting detail: Flash's armor in the series was designed in collaboration between editorial and merchandising, intended to make Agent Venom stand out more in toy lines. Despite the tonal shift, this arc serves as a kind of redemption epilogue for Flash. He's finally found peace with himself and the symbiote, and while he still faces obstacles, there's a sense of optimism not present in the Ariel stories. Venom's Space Knight is often overlooked, but it deserves credit for trying something genuinely different, and largely succeeding. Marvel also included over 45 pages of bonus material in this omnibus. Besides the usual variant covers, though surprisingly not that many this time, we also get an interview with Rick Remender and afterwards from him and the other writers involved. Of course, there are character sketches, panel and cover layouts, and even a portion of the written script. And that's all. The Agent Venom Omnibus is perfect for every fan of character-driven superhero storytelling with psychological edge. If you enjoy the arcs of redemption, military thriller, horror elements, or even a space opera, that have it all. If Agent Venom Omnibus gets your attention, you can order your own copy in our eShop, comicsbugle.com. Your friendly neighborhood comic book shop in Europe. Accept the great catalog of collected, deluxe, and absolute editions, epic collections, and omnibuses. We guarantee you eco-friendly Hulkproof packaging, free shipping in whole EU, an option to pre-order your comic book now and pay for it later. You can also split full price to 4 separate payments because we know how expensive these books can be. So check it out, comicsbugle.com. You can find direct links below this video. And that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out any further videos. In our comment section, let us know what other books or topics would you like to see in our videos. And see ya, Bugles!